Exercise 6, Creo Parametric 4.0. In this exercise, we're going to take a look at the 2D detailing side of the software. We're going to bring in a 3D model, and remember, any 3D model you model inside here or import, you can bring in and do pretty much what we're about to do. So if you will, you could download this file, the E6 file. It looks like a bell housing or bell casting, and it will be on the Vertani 1 web page. Okay, what we're going to do, you're going to see how to make a front view, top view, isometric view, section view, detail view, auxiliary view, and then some dimensioning and notes and things like that. So let's begin. First, start off with a new drawing file and label it E6 for exercise 6 and hit OK. Make sure, by the way, it's a good idea to just bring up the file in advance. So for example, I already have it up, the E6 bell housing is already up on the screen, so it will automatically take from there. And see right here, you could also browse for it if you wanted to. Go with empty with format and browse and select the A format. Now there are other templates in there you can use. It's just that I just prefer using this template today, just for the very basics. Hit OK. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we want to bring in a file. We already selected the part, but over here we could go to General View. That's how we get started. Go ahead and just select the No Combined State or Default All. Either one is fine. And hit OK. And now you have to click where you want to drop the view. Now this Drawing View dialog box will appear. The very first view type tab is selected, and you could actually scroll down whichever view you want. You could just double click on. So if I want the front view here from this list, I could double click. A couple other things I might want to do here under view display. Shaded is still not used typically, except for maybe an isometric view on a drawing these days. So I would recommend maybe changing it to no hidden lines in this case. Notice you can turn on hidden lines if you want. Also, the tangent edge display, just as a courtesy to the people out in the shop when you send this out, if there's no tangent edges on it, it sometimes makes for a confusing drawing to interpret. I usually go with phantom. If you go with centerline, then they might confuse it with possibly hidden lines. So the phantom seems to work pretty well. And that's just a preference, though. Really go with everyone, your company or whatever you prefer. And then also, I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK, and we'll see everything will update. It did bring in this note I was tinkering with earlier, so I'm just going to click on that and delete that because I had it up earlier when I was making that drawing. Okay, but the thing is, now what we want to do is down below here, we want to change the scale. If you want to change the scale for the whole drawing, you just double click right down here. It's 0.032. It uses an algorithm basically that calculates how it could adequately fit front, top, and right views on the size sheet that you select. So it's pretty much automatic. You could adjust that in the options menu, which I'm about to show you in just a couple minutes here. Okay, up here you could type in the new value. You'll notice whenever you double click on something and want to change it, if you don't see it pop up on the screen, always look up top here because sometimes you'll see it there. And let's say I want to change this to 0.0, let's just make it 0.04 and hit the green check mark. Watch how it scales it a little bit larger. Now you might notice if you click on this, you may not be able to move it like I am. The reason for that is the lock view movement may be turned on, so you might want to disable that. Okay, let's position this right about down there in the lower left corner. Now we want to unfold some additional views, so that's the project view up here. Make sure you're on the layout tab, go to project view, and you could drag this up and click. Now you have the ability to add additional views. We could click on this view again, go to projection view, drag one out to the right, right about there. And then this one, we actually want to create a section view next. So to do this, I'm just going to go ahead and click, and I'm going to start with the projection view. Okay, and we'll go back to that in just a little bit. Now here's the thing, all these are still utilizing the shaded view format, which you can change in the options menu, which I'll show you briefly. But you could also change them here. You could control select these views, and then actually cancel that. Control select the views, and then double click on the last one while holding control. And sometimes you'll get this use parent view style. That's really nice. It will then utilize all of those. Unfortunately for this, because we have them all selected, we'll just go ahead and we're going to select no hidden. And we'll go with phantom once again. Okay, now this view up here, I would like to make a section view. So this is what you do. You double click on it, and anytime with any view, if you want to go to that properties, the drawing view, you just double click on it. Notice I didn't double click on the actual model. Sometimes that does some other things, but usually inside the border of that view you could double click. Okay, now for this one, you'll see there's a sections category. Click on that. And there's a lot of steps involved here with creating a section view, at least in this respect. You can also create them inside the model and later on bring them up. It's actually a little bit easier perhaps that way sometimes. But I'm going to go ahead and select 2D cross section. I want to add a cross section. It starts off with labeling it A. Well, actually that was a previous one that I had in the model that I created. But I want to show you how to create a new one. So hit create new. And then this little menu manager will appear. Now if you want to offset it, this is where you get the option to offset that. We don't want to offset it, just hit done. And now up here we get to name it a different label. So I'm going to put in capital B. Hit the green check mark, and now you get the menu manager that appears again. And what it's looking for is a plane. Now you could make a datum or quit plane, but we just want it set to plane. And we have to turn on our planes. Now some of you might have them on already, but I'm going to go up here and turn on the plane display and then select the plane that runs section through this model. And you'll see a little green check mark appear near the B. That usually means that you did it correctly, usually. Now go ahead and hit apply and watch that view update. And there it is. So that's how we could create a section view. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And also I'm going to turn off the plane display. Remember, if you don't turn it off, they will print out. All those planes will print out, and that's not always desirable. So turn it off. Now go ahead to move this section BB, just drag this over like that. Okay, now a couple other things. You could actually double click on the X hatch or the cross hatch. And over here on the right you have the ability to adjust the angle, the spacing, the offset, line style. So let's say I go to spacing. Let's go to half, and you'll see it will reduce it actually by half, the distance between each line. I'm going to hit done. Okay, so that's how you could adjust your crosshatch. Now we're going to go ahead and make a detail view. And we'll make a detail view of this, actually we'll make a detail view of this region right here. So to do this, detail views are pretty easy. You just click on the detail view. Click on the area that you want to make the detail view of, and it will make a little X there. Now imagine there's a circle that's going to encompass that region. Start right at the top of the circle where you would be imagining it, like at 12 o'clock. Click one time. Now move to the 9 o'clock region of what your imaginary circle would be. Click 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock. You do not have to go all the way around back to 12. Once you're at 3 o'clock, middle click, and there's your detail. Now over here on the left, click again, and it will drop your detail view. You'll see it will automatically scale it. You could click on this and grab the green bar and drag it to relocate it, as well as this to make it look a little nicer, perhaps drag it out a little bit. So there's our detail view, and you'll see it's twice the size, which in the options you are enabled to change that. Now I want to show how to make an auxiliary view. An auxiliary view, again, is a very easy view to create. Click on an auxiliary view, and of course it's based off of an edge that might be at an arbitrary angle. Go ahead and select this edge, and now just drag this off to the upper right corner and click. Now if we double click, go back to view display, and again just set it to no hidden, And we could select Phantom again and hit apply. And now you can move that if you need to further away. Now one thing I noticed here, and I forgot to show you, is the section line for the actual section view. To get that in there, we have to go make sure you're in layout, and you'll see these section view arrows. Click on that, select the view that you want to base it off of, and then the view that it belongs in. And then it should automatically put the arrows in place. Middle click a couple times to get done with that. Now see these little arrowheads? We could click on those and drag them in as they come out a little bit too far for comfort. Just grab the tip of the arrowhead. Okay, so there's a variety of different views. Oh, one left, the isometric view. Again, use the general view tool. No confined state will bring in the isometric or trimetric, whatever your default is. Click over here. This is safe to leave in shaded view, but let's change its scale just for this one particular view. For that, with the drawing view properties up here, go to scale and check custom scale, and let's make it 0.06 and apply, and then hit OK. And then you can move this, or you could delete it if you don't want to see it, but it is something nice to have, and you can drag and relocate that. So now we have our shaded section view. So there you go, there's a number of views that we created. The next part of this is to show you how to add annotations and dimensions and notes and things like that. So we have to go up here to the Annotate tab. And the first thing I'm going to show you is just the Dimension tool. I'm going to click on Dimension. I'm going to zoom up here. And to put your run-of-the-mill dimension in, you go ahead and select, like let's say I want from the top to the bottom. Click on the bottom line. Now you have to Control select the top line here, and then now you can move it to the left and click to drop it. And remember, don't forget, you have to middle click in Creo. And there's your dimension. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing you how to put dimensions in like that. It works pretty much the same way that we've been exploring the last 5 exercises inside Creo. Now, let's take a look at some other options here. If we want to go to dimension, you'll notice, let's say I want a diameter here. I'm going to click on this outer edge, drag it off, but look, it's actually creating a radius. So if you hold the right mouse button down, you could select diameter as a different option. And there it is, now it's a diameter. Click with the middle mouse button. Now, while that's up there, you'll see the diameter display shows the arrows on the inside, which some companies are, that's the standard, but you might want to change that. You could go to display here and flip the arrows, or even change the arrowhead style. You could also change it to an inspection dimension. You could adjust the text orientation and the leader configuration. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and I want to show you another neat little thing here. How to bring in dimensions and notes that were actually in the model during its construction. This saves a lot of time if you lay your dimensions out. As I had mentioned from day 1 of this course through the exercise, I always say lay out your dimensions as you model the part as you would want to see them on a drawing, because you could call those up and 9 times out of 10 they will come up exactly how you left them. So with that being said, here's how to do it. To retrieve the dimensions, you go to Show Model Annotations. See the little flashlight there? Click on it. Select the view that you're interested in, or literally just select the individual feature on the model. So for example, if I wanted to see just this surface, or what encompasses this revolve feature, there are the dimensions that will show up. Or I could select the whole view and a bunch of dimensions appear. I might only want 1 or 2 of these, and actually I'm not finding any that I really care for right now, but notice this though, you could also go to Show the Model Datums, and here's how you could get your center marks in. So I'm going to select that center mark there, this one, that one. We get this one here. We'll actually go ahead and just get them all. Notice what's happening is checking these little boxes. So if you want them all, you can just hit check all right there. Hit apply and cancel. All right. Now, one thing I've forgotten there, let's select that view. Or actually, better yet, let's select this view here. And let's bring up the notes for that bolt hole, or one of that series of bolts that we have. So again, we use show model items. But in this case, we could go to the Notes tab, and we just select what we want. So in this case, it's this one right here. It's kind of, you have to zoom out sometimes, and these are getting very large. So I'm going to click on this, hit apply, and cancel. And so now I have, look at that, an entire note which doesn't fit too well on the page, and we'll fix that. Okay, so we've learned how to bring in the notes. Now let's see if we could get that corrected a little bit. Let's move some of these out of the way. In fact, by changing the text size, we should be able to adjust all this. So that brings us to where are all the dimensions, or the options. Go to File and Manage File. Sorry, hold on a second. Sorry, go to Prepare and Drawing Properties. You'll see the ANSI standard, which you could change to ISO or whatever option you want. But then there's the detail options, and this looks really basic, but watch when you hit change. It brings up a virtual phone book of details that you could change and modify throughout the entire thing, like draft scale, text gap. There's so much to go through here. Virtually everything and anything could be found in here. It just takes some time to find it sometimes. But in this case, the very first one, which is most commonly here, the text height, we have a 0.15625. So what you do, you click on it, and then down here you actually change the value. Let's make this really small just so you can see the variation. We'll make it 0.06, and let's see, hit add and change and apply and close. And then close here. Now zoom in and out, and there you could see, and now it's a more manageable text format. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other options we have here. What if you're doing geometric dimensioning and tolerancing? Creo has one of the most advanced one I've seen out there. It's very nice when you go to geometric tolerancing, go ahead and select it, and you could go ahead and click on any edge and middle click to drop it, and then you could actually modify and put in any values and secondary, tertiary information, and it's all there. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing there, just wanted to show that to you. Also the datum feature symbol. Let's say we go ahead and select the bottom edge here. We could put a datum in there. Don't forget you have to middle click. Okay. And then middle click again just to get out of it and select. And you could also see there's surface finish. And finally, let's go to notes. Click on note and bring your note down here, click to drop it, and go ahead and type in exercise 6. Now there is a way to have this all automated where it brings in information. I'm not going to go through that, that's more advanced for right now, but be aware that that's here. Let's say over here, first of all, too, going back to views, I meant to show this to you. What if you wanted to see the hidden lines on a particular view? Just double click on it, and under view display, you could select hidden, and then I'll put none here. And there's your hidden lines. Okay. Now, the lab that goes with this exercise, and as you can see, this is a very basic drawing. I'm just going through the very basics here with you, is to create a model and then go ahead and make the dimensions and so on. And I'm going to just go through it very quickly. I don't have my manual up, but I'm just going to go by memory and not even use the proper dimensions, but just the overall shape and then create a drawing from it. So your lab 6 is going to look like this. So let's begin. File, new, And you actually have to model the part first. So I'm going to go ahead and label this L6. Okay, and I'm going to go right to extrude on the front plane. And the part is going to be an interesting kind of zigzag part. So I'm going to drag a little line up here, middle click, and get it to the size approximately. I think it's about 4 inches, just going off of memory. Okay, and then take the line tool, and it's going to be a little enclosure, actually a rather large enclosure, depends on what you think large and small is. And then we'll go ahead and follow parallelism here, bring this down to the bottom and connect. Go ahead and add the dimensions as you see them in the drawing. Remember, not all the dimensions may be necessary depending upon the relationships that you establish on the model. So, like for example, if you want to go ahead and put an angle dimension in, you could put it here instead. And let's say we want that to be 55. Okay, so anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and just extrude this now. And then I'm going to set it to mid-plane. And again, change the dimensional value here if you need to, 6.5. Again, these are dimensions. I don't have the manual up currently. And then you're going to go ahead and put in some rounds, like right here. Whatever the parameter is, use that. And then this edge, and apply those. Now go to the chamfer tool, and we'll set this to a 1/2 inch. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but hit the green check. And now you shell this out. So go to the shell command, and we'll set it to 0.1, and then control select those back faces and the bottom, and you have yourself a little enclosure. Now there's little details on this side, so you can select this face and go to extrude. And there's like a polygon of some sort, actually a parallelogram in here. So we'll go ahead and click and drop that right in there. Put the parallelogram in, and then go ahead set the dimensions according to the print. And then go ahead and put the rounds in, and I would recommend putting those in here as fillets, sketch fillets, and just put some small ones in there. Again, follow the drawing, hit OK, and we're going to flip that and have it cut through all. Now with that still selected, go to Pattern, and we'll go to Direction. Select this edge right on the side here for our direction, and then specify, I think there's 4 of them if I recall, and they're probably spread out around 0.6 or something, I'm just guessing. Hit the apply button, and there it is. Now you could go ahead and bring this into a drawing. So once you can now go to New, Drawing, and go ahead and label this L6. It's okay to name the drawing different than the part, or the same as the part, because the drawing has a different extension versus a part file has PRT, assemblies have ASM, drawings have DRW, I believe. Go ahead and hit OK. And again, empty with format. Use the A size. This way you could print it out for me. Those of you who are my students, hit OK. And now again, remember the general view you start off with, hit OK, click to drop it, go to a front view, and we're going to go ahead and go to View Display, and No Hidden, and Phantom. Okay, down here, I'm going to go ahead and change the scale to something more legible, perhaps a 0.25 scale. That looks pretty good. And we could relocate that. Remember, turn off lock view movement in the event you can't, if it's locked. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and make a couple additional views. So I'm going to take the projected view, drag one off right there. And actually there's another one based off of this that's later on used as a section view. So we'll get that there. I think I have a top view here, so I'm going to select this view, go to projected, click to drop it, and then there's a detail view, so go to detail, right about there, click 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, middle click, left click to drop it there, and you can relocate that. All right, and then don't forget another general view for the isometric. And we could leave that shaded. Okay, as far as some of the dimensions, as I showed you, you could go ahead and recall some of the dimensions if they're in there. You could go to, first of all, let's get out layout here. Go to annotate, show dimensions, click on it, and there you have them. You could just select the ones you'd like to see and hit apply. And to change the size of those, go to File, Prepare, Drawing Properties, and on the small of a sheet, I usually recommend to my students like either 0.1 or 0.07 or 0.06, something like that. Oh, I'm sorry, 0.06, not 0.6. So you can see that's way too large. Forgot a decimal place. Very important. There we go. To make the section view, let's try that again, or try that now. So turn on the plane display. Double click on this view here. Go to Sections, 2D cross section, Add. Just hit Done right here. And now type in a label, in this case capital A, and hit the green check. Now you could select that plane right in the center. Kind of hard to get there. Notice I had to select there. You get the green check, looks good, hit apply, and hit OK. And there we have our section view. Don't forget to put your name on it with the note, or in this case, put the lab. If you want to change an individual text size, this is how you do it. You just click on it, and up here it gives you the ability to actually adjust some of those settings. So for example, right here I could change that to 0.125. Oops, make sure it's selected, by the way. There we go. And you could go with italicized, bold. You could change the font if you like. Let's go with Omega Italic. And then don't forget to turn off your plane display. And that concludes exercise and lab 6.